Hey Lego fans, and welcome back to MB Bricks. My name is Maya, and today I am here with my Lego Master partner and dad Jamie, and we are here for the Behind the Builds Season 5 Episode 3 Over the Falls. So today we are going to be talking about the sculpting challenge, which certainly was going to be a challenge for us because we've never really sculpted before, so I think we did pretty good considering.
We decided that we wanted to do something nice and brightly colored, so we chose the pink pig, which we thought would be fantastic. We named him Percival,
Yep.
and then partway through the build found out that Ben and Michael were also building a pig. Luckily for us, the builds were quite different. We were building one large pig, and they were building I think 4 smaller pigs for their build. So overall, it was going to work for us.
I think we should have noticed that too. They were right across the room for us, but we must have been too involved
Focused.
with our build. So my dad was working on the log that Percival was going to be coming careening down the river on, which was very hard to do because he had to make sure that the wheels didn't get stuck when he went over the falls. And then while he was working on that, I started sculpting Percival, and I really wanted to make sure that he had that wide-eyed surprised look, maybe a little bit of fear in there too, which I think came together really, really well, and I'm pretty proud of Percival's face.
Yeah, I think you did a really good job on that. And after I finished building the log, then we wanted to build a few other small pieces to go with Percival. So we worked on a hat that we were hoping was going to fall off, a monocle, and some binoculars. That was also going to be a part of the build.
Yeah, it did come together really, really well. I really like how the build turned out. However, the one thing I didn't like was after the Brickmasters came by and they asked us to cover the joints for his arms and legs, it ended up making Percival looking more toned than plump, which was my original goal, of course. He's a pig. But I knew I wasn't going to have time to rework the same level of detail into his side, so I opted to leave it. But I think it turned out okay, and I'm still really happy with the end result of Percival. And yeah, I'll take you through a little bit of how we did our sculpting. So as episode 3 was mainly a sculpting based challenge, I wanted to use a couple of different techniques to put our build together. So I had my dad build the large log that Percival was on, and this we decided to do a brick-based sculpture. And we had to make sure, of course, that the sculpture would actually go over the falls. So we actually had 3 sets of wheels because our log was so long, and just really hoped that it wasn't going to get caught on the edge of the waterfall. So once my dad did a basic build out of the brown bricks, I then had him put in some different colors with the medium nougat and some sand green. And then we did top off the build as well with some foliage, just to kind of make it look more like a tree branch, although I didn't put any on this one, just so you could see kind of how we did the sculpting for this one. Now with the brick-based sculpting to the side, we are now going to look at how I did the plate-based sculpting. So Percival, I wanted to make sure had the most detail, and of course you can achieve that by using smaller Lego pieces, aka the plates. So putting this down for just a second, you can see the base of how I did the head here, which is similar to how you would build a spear out of Lego. So basically you want to use a ton of these snot pieces for support. You want them in the corners and kind of giving some extra support in the middle there. And then once you have that together, you can kind of clip your last plate on top here, giving a little bit of support underneath just because it did break a few times as I was trying to put it together. And then as you can see, we have a finished cube here. Now this doesn't look very much like a pig yet. However, you can sculpt it then using different plate pieces to whatever shape you want. Now this is a very basic build of what I did on the show, but I did just start filling in the sides to make it a little bit more round. I wanted to make sure that those eyes really popped, so those were the first things that I put on, and then I kind of built up the facial features around them. This mouth is on hinge pieces so that we could move it to get the correct angle that we wanted, and then the nose, or the snout, sorry, is actually again just more snot work. And then we placed it on the face and built up additional plate work around it. And then I achieved this oval shape for the nose by using two 2x2 round tiles and then a black 2x2 plate underneath to fill in the darkness of the nose. I did, of course, do a little bit more detailing on the show with the eyebrows and that sort of thing, but I just wanted to show you a very basic way of how I started sculpting. And then, of course, I wanted to add the ears shooting straight back as he's careening down the river. So then I just built up some plate work off the back like that as well. And then again, finished off the head just like so. And I think it worked out very, very well for Percival. Now I did do the face first for Percival and then started working on the body once my dad had finished the log. And to attach the body, I just used one of these large ball joints to give it a little bit more strength. I did just knock off the nose here. See if I can stick back on fairly easily. Okay, so another thing to note when sculpting or building with Lego in general is that plates have more clutch power than bricks do. So as I wanted to make sure that this was not going to fall off, I built up around this brick here with plates. So of course you have to stack 3 plates to be a brick height, and then you can build on top of that, and it does give a lot more strength to hold on to versus putting 2 2x4 bricks on either side. And then you can add as much or as little depending on what kind of sculpting you are doing, but the more plates you are able to layer on top of each other, and because the head was fairly heavy, this way you can hold it and it's not going to fall out. Which is another reason why we went with the large ball joint for this, because a smaller ball joint would have definitely let go. So that is one of the most important things to know when building with Lego. If you're going for strength, stack as many plates as on top of each other as you can, because it will really add to the strength of your model.
And that's how our build went for episode 3. On to episode 4.
If you have any questions about other parts of this build, be sure to leave them in the comment section below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you want to see more Lego Master related content, I'll leave a link in the description of all those types of videos on my channel. Thanks so much for checking out this video today, guys, and until next time, keep on building.